That's what people need to realize
Well,
is people,
we hope that it's a come to Jesus moment for a
yeah,
lot of people.
and that they
You
continue
know what I
it.
mean?
Yeah, and they continue it
Yeah,
when they.
I hope. Yeah,
But
to say that. I even say that for our wicked politicians. That it's like, yeah, we talk a bunch of garbage about them, but
yeah.
honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I can honestly say I would rather see them come to Jesus
Hmm.
than to sit there. Well, I hope they burn in hell and all this kind of stuff. You
Right.
know what I mean? I don't. I don't
No.
hope they do that. I
No.
hope that they come to Jesus moment and that this greed and all this stuff that they operate on would just,
Yeah.
you know,
They need to
be healed, that they would be delivered from it,
yes, ask for
because
forgiveness and
so
repent. But
yeah,
it's never too
it's
late.
so much better. Yeah, it's so much better revenge.
Right.
Revenge is sweetest if someone comes to the understanding of what they're doing and repents for it, and their ways are changed like in the blink of an eye. That is a better revenge than watching them die or putting them to death or throwing them in jail. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I would rather see people. Honestly, I would rather see people have an awakening.
Hmm. I agree.
And that would just be a beautiful thing. And that's the best revenge you could possibly ask
Right.
for anything. So I do pray for people that I get angry with
Yeah.
in our politics right now.
Hmm.
I've never really been involved in politics until this last, you know, well, I guess it started in 2008 with the Obama administration. I is when I started to get interested and involved in it, but I was more so involved in it from a spiritual side. Like, I look at it and okay, what's spiritually going on here? That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm there. I'm there to find out what's spiritually going on here. How does this match up with scripture? What does it say? What's going on here? What can I recognize out of prophecy that's happening here, and put it all together because I'm supposed to be watching and my eyes are supposed to be turned upwards, waiting on the return of the Lord, and so that is what I am waiting for. And I like to identify the season, which he said, you cannot know the day or the hour, but you will know the season.
Oh, wow. Well, hang on.
He said, yeah,
Before you go on there, let me say real quick, just my little quick intro, because again, I get on the phone with you and it just takes off, and it's like boom, we're off to the
oh,
races, and I forget what I'm doing, and so let me say real quick so I can edit it in.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of We Need to Talk. And my guest this week is Miss Kymberli, better known as to some in California as Mama Kim. I hope you don't mind me saying that because I just find that just so connected to you.
no, that
You
is,
know?
no, that is who I am here, yes.
Yes, exactly. And I know that some people listening will know who that persona is. And it's amazing to me how many personas we get to take on in this lifetime. Don't you feel like you've lived several thousand of them already? Uh,
Absolutely. I've definitely lived about, I can say, four really prominent ones, yeah.
yeah, well, I feel like thousands. I sure. Oh, it's like when I hear about schizophrenia and stuff, I can relate because I feel like I'm all over the place all the time. So many different hats that we wear and so many different experiences come along.
Reinvented.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
reinvented so many
If
times
you put it
because
like that, I guess it's thousands.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again with the different personas we have, I think though that one thing that we never lose, and what I know from talking to you, and you've always been that voice of reason when it comes to our faith. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I know that's what we need to talk about. And so go. We're off to the races with Miss Kimberly because that's the
Because that's
way it
what happens
goes.
when you talk.
I know. It's like, boom. All right, here we go.
Well, the Mama Kim name actually started when I was in the music industry, and it was after my first divorce, my
Hmm.
only divorce,
Hmm.
and I ended up actually the way that all went down. My husband and we broke up, and I left him with everything. So
Hmm.
with no education and no job experience, because like I was saying to you before, I stayed home and raised children all
Right.
those years. I didn't have any experience, and I only had high school education. So um, I had to figure out how to reinvent myself so I could live on my own. I was always just kind of the housewife. So I ended up homeless for a little while, and because he was bitter and angry, he wouldn't help me, and, blah, blah, blah. We went through all that. We're friends now, but at that point, it hurt him that I was leaving and all that, so we went through all that. And I was homeless for a while, and in that time of being homeless, I met a lot of street people, should I say.
Right.
And because I was always involved in music before that. Before that, I was always in music, but I didn't have the name Mama Kim. I just was, Kymberli Williams. I had gospel albums. I had, written some secular songs that I had a record deal with a record label called Real Records, and my record, that one was a secular record, and then just different things I went through. And then so this time I met a lot of rappers, crazy enough, and they were asking me if I knew how to rap, and I said I can do anything. Any kind of music, I can do it. So then I learned how to rap.
Oh, wow.
So, and I was actually really, really good at it, and they called me, like, the female Snoop Dogg, because I had that, like, smooth sound rapping. I'll have to let you hear some of my songs.
Awesome.
I'll shoot over some of my songs sometime. But, anyway, so it was funny, because here I was out in the street. I was a little bitter. I was a little towards God myself. So I was, probably getting into things I shouldn't have been getting into, being mad and upset that, like, I lost my childhood too. I was married at an early age, blah, 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 blah. We have all these excuses why we go off the rails. And, but in the meantime, God had already had my soul.
Yeah.
Because I had already given my life to him prior to this. So the whole time he's dealing with me, dealing with me, how he does, because he's so wonderful. And mean when he wants to be. And I mean that in the most loving, fatherly way.
Yeah, children crave discipline.
I mean that in the I mean that in the most loving, fatherly way. He was being very fatherly with me, should I say?
Yeah, right.
And so all of the rap songs that I ended up writing would be like, I'm out here doing this, and this is this, and I'm nasty, and I'm cussing, and I'm this and that, like this rapper. And then in my lyrics is, but I can't be doing this because God doesn't want me doing this kind of thing. And so my songs turned out like really crazy awesome.
Right.
So people were like, oh my God, these are amazing, and this is crazy, and you're so good. We can't believe this. And then I found some backup singers, and we put together some incredible stuff. Well, then we got to where I was writing this I have one on my YouTube page. If you want to check that out, just go to Mama Kim YouTube.
Okay, cool.
And I think my name there is Mama Kim 1. I'm not sure. I think the number 1, because there was another Mama Kim of some sort. But anyway, so on there I have a couple videos. One of the videos I have is, you remember when all the fish down in Redondo Beach died? And they all came up into the harbor, and there was like just filled with all those dead fish, and everybody was like, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Fish are dying.
Right.
Well, I went down there and videotaped that whole thing, so that's on there, and that's pretty cool. But one of my songs I left up on there called Heart of Compassion, and it literally is a mixture of everything I'm about today. It's a mixture of, the song is basically, the chorus is, where is the heart of compassion? And it's pretty much, all, and this was, a few years back, 7 years ago. So even then, the exact same politics were going on. It was like after 9/11 that are going on now. So all the politics are mixed in with the spiritual message, with the bullying, with all the subject matters of today are all mixed into this song, and it just turned out absolutely so beautiful.
Oh, wow.
And the song was actually inspired because I call him my brother, my business partner, music partner, slash, the guy that helped me do all the editing and the show Soapbox that I sent you and all that.
Right.
He also does music with me, and so at this time I was couch surfing, living on his couch, and one morning he was playing the piano, and I woke up. I said, what is that you're playing? And he said, I'm making it up right now. And I said, I know what it is. And I ran out on the porch, and I got my cup of coffee and my pen, and I said, keep playing. And as he was playing, it was just pouring into my brain out of heaven, like the lyrics to that song.
How awesome.
And so literally the whole song was written in like 2 minutes. Literally, I'm not even exaggerating.
Oh, I believe
and
it.
in 2 minutes, that song was inspired, poured out of heaven into my brain, down onto paper, and he had the musical inspiration for it, to continue. And then we put it all together, and got a friend of mine, Lisa, who's an incredible vocalist, to do vocals on it, the back vocals on it, and I was rapping on it, and it's really cool.
Oh, wow.
So that's on my YouTube page. But so God has he couldn't even, like, during that time, all those songs that I wrote, he couldn't even get out of those. So those even became kind of a ministry of sorts.
Yeah.
So as people were listening to them, they started saying, "You're like, like a Mother Teresa rapper. Oh, you're Mama Kim." That's when they started calling me Mama Kim.
Right, right.
So they
Because they all
started
needed to
calling me
hear
that.
it. Aw.
So they started calling me that, and then it got to the point where, before I totally 100% just turned back around and said, "Okay, God, enough of that."
Mm-hmm.
I would go and hang out in some of the bars around here and stuff like that, and I couldn't walk into any of the local bars, Mama Kim, Mama Kim, so that was fun.
Right.
And,
Another
and I met,
persona.
people in different stages and stuff, and I always ended up ministering to people, and that's not what I wanted to be doing, but it just happened,
It
It was
happens.
so funny.
Well, that's because God, they
Yeah,
see God in you, and that's beautiful. Because that's one thing that I
it's just,
always say, no matter where I'm at, God, I don't care if they remember me or see me, but let them see you in me.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't want them to see him, this is my point. If you don't want them to see him at that particular time in your life, but you've been having this relationship with him, that light has already flooded you so much
Yeah.
that they can't not see it, and you can't not have to let it
Exactly.
out. It,
Exactly.
when they come and they tap, it just comes pouring out. You can't help it. In and allowing it to come in. And so when someone comes up and taps that well, it's like tapping a well. That water just spills out.
It does. And you're right. You can't help it because once you're in it, it's like, you might, have a distraction here, a distraction moment there, but it never leaves you. And so people are going to see it.
It becomes you. It
Yeah,
literally becomes you.
it
And
does.
it is out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, the Bible
Mhm.
says.
Mhm. Because
So,
I always tell people think I'm righteous and that I'm a voice of reason. These are words used to
we
describe
might
me.
be a voice of reason, thanks to him, but
Uh,
we are not righteous. I'm not get that twisted.
well, but those are the words that these aren't my words. These are words that other people have called
Yeah,
me.
no, I know what you
Yeah,
mean. I know what you mean.
until they get pissed off for whatever reason, and then I'm some
Uh-huh.
dumb crazy
And then you're horrible.
biatch. Yeah,
Then you're a horrible minister of hell.
yeah.
I
It's
had a
like
lady one day call me she called me a disciple of hell. One lady one day. like,
it's like
I was
oh
like,
no.
I was like, do you know what that would mean? Do you understand what you're even saying?
Yeah, no, they have no
She
idea.
didn't.
But
She
again, that's just other things working through
Yeah, she was lost. She
other
was lost,
things,
lady.
other
She was a
things.
mean, angry lost. She was a mean, angry, lost Democrat.
Yeah, which brings us back to now. You can finish what you were going to say if you can remember, because it was about politics and it was about how you weren't even really involved until 2008, and then you got really,
Yeah, and
really passionate
I just
with
Yeah, I
this
just
one.
started looking at the spiritual implications here, and man, they are many. They are
Yeah.
very, very many. And you know, when when Trump announced that he was running for president, I could not stand that man.
Hmm.
I could not stand that man. That man was up here in Palos Verdes, close to my house, trying to put bikini-clad women driving around in golf carts up here in this golf course.
Hmm.
And me and all the other women in my surrounding towns and the towns around Palos Verdes and in Palos Verdes all got together because we were like, hell no, you are not putting that filth up here in these family-oriented neighborhoods for
Right.
our husbands to go over there. And no, we're not having it. So
Hmm.
we all signed a big petition, and we actually won against him in that. He was not allowed to do it.
Wow. Well, he
So
was a
we were all,
sexist. I mean, he's a
no,
circular man.
let me tell you, he is a man with money. Well, he was a man with money, and he was in the entertainment industry. And let me
Right.
tell you, when people say, "Oh, he's a misogynist. He hates women." No, 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 no. The man loves women way too much.
Yeah.
He loved women too much. Okay, that was
Yeah.
his problem. His
Yeah.
problem wasn't hating women. His problem was lusting women, loving women, and liking women way too much. And I'm sure no man gets over that very easily because it's actually a problem that plagues most men on the face of this earth. Women are beautiful. We're beautiful, and then we go and put on all that shiny stuff and all that makeup and everything and all the shiny jewelry and blingy, and we just look like, woo, woo, we're gorgeous. That's what we're just like eye-catching to them, in nature, it's funny because in nature, it's the male of the animals and the birds that have the color.
Right. Yeah, they're more. Yeah, they are more beautiful.
And they're the ones that have like the big manes and the fancy feathers and the fancy everything, and the women are plain. Isn't that funny?
That is.
And so in the
but they
human
have
world,
to entertain those women to get them to even take notice.
And then in the human world, though, we've twisted it. In the human world, the women are the ones that put on the makeup and the fancy and the bling and, the ones that are always trying to entertain the men and get the men. And you know what I mean? We're the ones that are, it's just backwards. It's backwards.
Yeah.
We're backwards.
This whole world is backwards.
So,
I've always said that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I did not like that man. But I had voted, in my heart. I didn't actually go to the polls, but I had voted in my heart for Barack Obama. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican or anything, actually. I'll switch a party in a second if I think somebody's going to do the right thing. I could care less what party you're in. It depends on what you're going to do.
Exactly.
And the reason I like Barack Obama is because he said he was going to protect the borders. He was going to, protect us from, criminals and drugs and all this stuff that were coming over the borders. I don't care about the people who are coming over to migrate here. I do believe that we should follow laws and migrate legally,
right?
Because there's a reason for law. Law keeps order, and law keeps things organized, and it keeps us on a budget that we can afford. There's a lot of reasons for it that are very, very good. If we didn't have laws, it would be chaos. It would be absolute chaos.
Wild West all over again.
Yes, exactly. So, there was a lot of the things he campaigned on were exactly the same things Trump campaigned on.
Right.
But the thing was, Obama didn't do any of them.
Exactly.
But so by the time his first 4 years were up, I didn't like him anymore because he hadn't in those 4 years, he had not done one single thing of the things he promised he was going to do. The only thing he did that I give him credit for, and I'm glad he did this, was he brought much, much awareness to the need for respect for the gay community. That I'm glad he had a big part of, and I'm glad that he brought a lot of that onto the table, and it's kind of stayed. It's stayed with us. But Trump is for that and with that too. He's not having no problems with that. He's hey, if you're gay, that's great. Whatever.
They're taxpayers
he's
too.
Not going against that. Yeah, he's not going against that. I mean, we all have our own beliefs, about it, but you can believe something and still be very respectful, and you can still be very loving and accepting, even though you don't believe that that's necessarily the way it should have been. You can still be loving and respectful.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was glad about that, but that's the only thing that he, in those 4 years, the first 4 years, that he really had done. So I was very disappointed because all the other things just was like, okay, you're just another, and Bush did the same thing. Yeah. Bush campaigned on the same stuff and didn't get it done either. All these people have been campaigning on these things for so many years, for decades. The Republicans and the Democrats have been campaigning on all these same issues that Trump came and campaigned on, but said and promised he was going to get them done. And everybody believed him and went for it, and that's what happened. Yeah. Everyone was like, okay, all these other people that we've been voting for all these years, Republican, Democrats, they've been saying they're going to do this stuff, and none of them did any of it. So let's try voting for an outsider who's not a politician and who's saying he's going to get it done, and let's see if he'll get it done. That's why everybody voted for him that voted for him.
Right.
So guess what? He gets in office. He's got his issues as a man, being a womanizer and all this whatever, but he gets it done. He gets it done, and he is getting it done. And the only reason he hasn't got that wall done and up and finished is because of the hang-ups that the Democrats are giving him with all of the laws and making it hard for him to get the money. And look how hard he's fighting for it, and he's trying to do everything and anything he can because we need that, and people are like, and now they're coming out and saying, oh, the walls are immoral, where a couple of years ago they were all for the wall, voting for the wall themselves. They're just a bunch of liars. You listen to them, and they just say whatever is to oppose the next guy so that they can make that guy look bad so that they can get back in when the next election comes. It's just all a big game of junk that shows me who and who doesn't really care about the people.
Exactly.
You know, you don't really care about the people because
No.
5 years ago you wanted the wall and you voted for it, and now you're up here saying that there shouldn't be one and it's immoral because you're just trying to make this guy look bad because you want to keep your power, get your power back in this next election year. So now you're against what you used to be for, and you're flip-flopping and this and that. That's a bunch of garbage that is just showing us who really cares and who really does not care.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
So Trump might... Yeah, so Trump, I truly believe that he's had a change of heart spiritually since he got in office. I think it's changed his life, going around and really talking to people and really having to see what the people cared about and the support and everything. I think that it's warmed his heart, softened his heart, and I think it's caused a great transformation in his life. But even if it hasn't, and he's still that womanizing, woman-loving, wishes he could cheat on that beautiful Milena, which he would be nuts to do because she's a gorgeous doll.
It's not about the woman. It's not about the woman.
No, it's not. It's not. And
or the wife, I should say.
Whatever. Yeah, and whatever. And people are like, oh, he's doing this to make money. No, trust me, the dude had more money before he did this.
No, he's
than
playing the
now.
game. He knows how to cater to people's weakness.
Yeah.
And to get what he wants.
Yeah.
I mean, that's he knows how to play the game. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So I am, when I hear people say, he's this, he's that, he's the other thing, it's like, okay, but you have to look at the spiritual implications here. You have to think, did God ever use an unspiritual man or an ungodly man to do his will? Yes, he absolutely did. He used King Cyrus in the book of Isaiah to conquer Babylon and free the Jews to return to Israel. He used, my favorite, but he was a godly man, he used Nehemiah, which this is interesting because Nehemiah was not a politician, he wasn't a priest, people who would normally be brought to power as their kings in those days. Mm-hmm. This guy, God chose him and put him into power, and he was a builder. Yeah. He was a builder. Right. And what God used him to do was to build a wall around Jerusalem to protect it from enemy attack. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, Nancy Pelosi, you're going to stand up there and we're the people who work for God and walls are immoral. And she'd quote a scripture. But wait a second, Nancy, what do you think about the scripture in Nehemiah where God used a builder to build a wall around Jerusalem to protect it from enemy attack? Was it immoral of God to do that? I mean, these people just play these games that just, So I just prayed. I literally did not know what to do when he first announced he was going in presidency. I had no idea, because I had no idea who the heck to vote for. Should I vote for, Hillary? Should I vote for this person, that person?
Always the lesser of two evils.
I said, God, please show me if I'm supposed to even do anything here or what it is I'm supposed to do. And I'm not kidding you, as clearly as I heard his voice on other occasions telling me, directing me on certain things, like I shared with you last time about when he directed me to read the book of Enoch.
Right.
When I was praying to him and asking him about the aliens and stuff. Okay, well, as clear as I heard him tell me that, I heard him tell me Trump. And I heard literally him put in my heart so loudly, this man is the man I'm going to use to do a great thing.
Wow.
And I didn't know exactly what the great thing was, but I was like, okay. So I went to the polls, Trump. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just trusted God. I had no idea. And here I was, somebody who didn't even really like the guy, trust me, okay?
Right.
Well, as time has gone by, I see exactly what God is doing with him. Mm-hmm. First of all, God said everything will be brought to the light. Everything is going to be brought to the light right before he comes in these last days, before the new world, with the new world order and all this stuff that's going to happen. Everything is going to be brought into the light. And Trump is being used as like a wrecking ball.
Right.
Even if it means himself is getting exposed, he is the reason that all of this garbage is getting exposed. It's like all the smudge is being drummed up from the bottom of this pot of gold and floating on the top now. Right. And we can all see how much junk was in there. And it's like the news, the media, Hollywood, the sex trafficking, the border problem, the politicians, everything is just being. Have you ever been in a time where everything has been so turned upside down for us to see all of the smut going on?
No, I
You
have to
know,
say,
and,
because again, it's been held in secrecy. It's been a dirty
yeah,
little secret. Everybody has a pedo in their family. Everybody has a criminal in their. It's the dirty little secrets keeps us from
yes,
talking. It didn't
and so
stop
it's
me.
all no, it doesn't stop me either.
No.
And so it's all coming up to the surface, and everybody's getting exposed. And here we're right in the middle of like a whole bunch of stuff getting exposed on the Democratic side too right now. And it's just going to get where everybody who's dirty is it's all gonna be seen. But
Yeah.
what's going to happen? I believe this is what I believe is going to happen. Some little squeaky clean socialist is going to come along and not be super squeaky clean, but squeaky clean, more squeaky clean than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're eventually going to win the House. The socialism is going to eventually win the House. And it's going to be more of a socialism/communism, which will be totally conducive to the New World Order. The Bible says the New World Order is going to happen. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. It's going to
So
be
I believe
upheaval before the change.
Yeah, I believe that God is going to use. I believe God is using Trump to hold it back for a little bit longer, and that's what this is all about. He's using him to turn everything upside down, so all this exposure is happening, and he's also using him to hold back the New World Order for just a little bit longer because he's got some reason for doing that. Maybe it's so that more people will become awakened before we go into it,
Or
so they're not
hopefully.
totally lost in it.
Yeah. I'm thinking, I mean, because
I'm
every
thinking,
time I think about it, I think about Babylon, and
yeah.
like, go find
If
10
you
people.
study,
If you can find 10
yeah,
people, then I won't, destroy this city. And he
right.
couldn't. But I think now,
And
yeah,
he leaves the 99 for the one.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
yeah,
so there's all this scriptures. There's tons of scriptures that that tell us and show us that he's so long suffering, he's so patient, even with the wicked, that he's going to get every last thing, every last soul where they need to be before he allows the next step to occur. So they're ready for it. So the
right,
world's ready for it. So those who are his are going to be ready for this. So this new world order is going to come in. And everybody's always asking me, how do you stay so peaceful through all of this, craziness? And how do you stay so, calm? And so, because I trust his promises. And here's his promises. His promises are, and I'm patient. I can wait for the
right,
promises to come to fruition. I
right.
don't need them today. If
Been
they're going to
waiting
come
on them.
eventually, yeah, if they're going to come eventually, even after my life,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to come for everyone eventually, that's
Yeah,
fine. As long as they're going to come, I'm good. As
right.
long as they're going to come, I'm good. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just have, the patience. I don't know. Maybe God gave me patience, but
Yeah,
so that new world order is going to come, and from the looks of things, with this socialism rising up like it is, and the Socasa girl and Bernie and all these socialists, and now the whole left wing is turning socialist, and it's like, oh my God, they're all socialists now,
mm-hmm.
and what the heck is happening? We don't even have a normal Democratic Party anymore,
Nope.
and
It's not your
yeah,
mama's Democrat Party. Mm-mm.
yeah. And so, it's like, so you can see the New World Order creeping in. And the New World Order is going to do what Satan has always promised to God he was going to do. And if you go back, let's go all the way back to the beginning for a second, where God was throwing Satan out of heaven
Mm-hmm.
because he rebelled and he wanted to be God. Well, we said this last time we talked. Love is love. I can't look at love, it is what it is, and go, well, I want to be love.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want to be love itself and the ruler of all love. Because that's not what love is. I'm going to be the ruler of all love, is
Yeah.
what Satan's thinking to himself, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like, no, love is love, and it kind of goes out, and everybody kind of becomes one with it. No, Satan wanted to be the ruler of it somehow. Like, his ego superseded even love. It supersedes everything with him. So God had to remove him, and he cast him to the earth, the Bible says. And he told the Lord when he was being thrown out, fine, I'm going to go, and I'm going to make me a kingdom. I'm going to make a kingdom, and I'm going to make a kingdom greater than your kingdom, and my kingdom is going to be higher than your kingdom, and I'm going to set it up in the clouds in the north, and it's going to be greater than anything you've done, and greater than you, and greater than your kingdom, and blah blah blah. And that's basically what he was saying to the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so Lord's like, yeah, whatever, throws him out. So he comes down here, and ever since then, he's been down here, him and his minions, his demons, and his fallen angels, and his fallen watchers, and all those who collude with him, and they collude,
Mm-hmm.
building a kingdom. They're building a kingdom is what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And this new world order that's to come is part of that kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
And what they do is they initiate need. You need me.
Mm-hmm.
You need me.
Right.
You are a
They feed to the
victim.
insecure.
You are a victim. Yeah. They initiate victimhood and neediness. And you are a victim and you need me. Now, who does that sound like?
Mm. Nobody I want to be in a relationship with.
Okay. So,
But yeah,
so,
but
so
that's
if you're
exactly
a
right.
victim,
That's mm-hmm.
yeah. If you're a victim of sexual assault, or you're a victim of racism, or you're a victim of, domestic violence, or you're a victim of rape, or you're a victim of, oppression or poverty, you're a victim of some sort, and we're going to show you what a victim you are, and we're going to prove to you you're a victim, and you cannot come out of this without us, without our help. You need our help.
Yep.
And you cannot survive without us, and
Mm-hmm.
you need us.
Mm-hmm.
And you need us to give you free stuff because you can't get it on your own. And you need us to do this, and you need this is the socialist, communist,
Yeah.
new world order. This is their philosophy. This is their what they teach people, what they program people to think, what they put in your heads. They're constantly, doing this, and people don't realize that. Wait a second. Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a second. No.
Yeah.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do these things, and all you need is God has equipped you to do all those things, to overcome all those things, to get for yourself, he will make you the lender and not the borrower. He will teach you the characteristics and the integrity and the work ethics and everything that it takes to have all those things.
Mm-hmm.
To have everything you need and to overcome all those things. And you don't need any other human being or politician giving you a free handout so that you'll stay down and stay quiet and be a good girl or a good boy.
Mm-hmm. That's the demon, though. That's the demons for you. And I got to tell you, it's not just what we can call now the Democrat Party. It's also the rhinos, the Republicans, because it was Bush, it
Nope,
was Reagan.
absolutely.
I mean, there's
Absolutely.
they're one party behind closed doors, and
That's why I was
it's the
saying to you,
Titanic demon party.
it totally is. And that's why I was saying to you that in the beginning, when I first got into all this, I realized, hey, it was Bush, it was Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
it was Obama, it was the Republicans in office before that. It seems like everybody since Kennedy.
Exactly. That's when they took over, really. That's when they knew they
Yeah,
had it. I mean, they'd already taken over
Yeah.
in 1867 or 1876. I am transposed. I'm dyslexic, but it's 1876, I believe. That's when they took over Washington D.C. and made it a corporation, D.C. corporation. So now all these politicians that have been selected, the Secretary of the Treasurer, who is really, let's talk. That's the guy in control. He is given that position. He's not elected. He is selected. All the people
Right.
that run
Anybody
are
who
selected.
comes in who throws a wrench in their works,
Yeah.
like Kennedy did,
Uh-huh.
and they just they get rid of him. So they assassinated him. But see, in this day and age, they would assassinate. If this day and age was that day and age, they would have assassinated Trump. But they can't get away with it anymore like they used to be able to get away with it.
I believe
So
they've
now
tried.
they have to try.
I believe they've tried.
Now they have to try to.
I
Yeah,
believe,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure
Hey,
they're. Yeah.
you know what they did? They tried to normalize. Did you notice in the media all the
Yes.
celebrities holding severed heads
Yes.
and talking
Plays.
about killing him and
Mhm.
things and they
Songs.
just accepted and laughed at it like it was no big deal because they desensitized everyone to
Mhm.
that kind of behavior to the point so if they decided to do something, nobody would think anything of it because they normalized the idea.
Yeah, exactly. They've been normalizing all sorts of evil things. Like I told you before, I think that it's because they're not just normalizing it, they're making us complicit in their rituals. I mean, because if you
Yes,
think
they
about
are.
it, if we
Amen.
don't stand up
Amen.
and say something about it, we're complicit. Okay,
And
and
then,
I'm talking
yeah,
from everything from abortions, what they do to those fetuses, what they do after
oh my
they're
gosh.
taken, all
Oh,
the way to the sacrifices that they make of human, that everything,
this whole stillborn
cannibalism.
babies thing,
Oh my God,
the whole stillborn babies after they're born,
yeah,
you know, that is, that's like the last straw. New York can go ahead and basically count on getting judged. It's because every time in Scripture when a society began to sacrifice their children to demons and to false gods and idols,
hmm
which in God's eyes, them killing babies after they're born for any excuse is a form of adultery, murdering for
yeah,
adultery your children.
hmm
And at that point, shortly thereafter, they were severely judged. So I'm just waiting to see what happens in New York.
right. I'm at this infant. I can't even say infanticide. I can't even
Yep.
imagine. I never even heard that. Can I just say I never heard that word. I never even heard of abortion up to term until Trump said it during his campaign when he was on the stage with Hillary talking about how
Yep.
that they want this to happen. I was like, what? What? And then to hear the word
It's
infanticide this
disgusting.
last year, I was the first time I'd ever heard the word. I did not even have a clue that they went to that
Well,
extreme.
because
Oh yeah.
yeah, because we hadn't practiced that in our nation until
hmm
then, you know. So and then there's all this other stuff that's a bunch of bunk, like Islamophobia.
Ugh,
Okay, you know
yeah.
what? If you think about all of, I mean, there is a list a mile long of all of the people and the things that is the Islamic religion has blown up,
hmm
killed, murdered, bombed. I mean, there's a list a mile long, and
Yeah.
it's not an ancient list. It's
No.
a contemporary
Modern.
list.
Yeah.
So, when they say, oh, and then you guys turn around and you're Islamophobic, it's like, well,
Mm,
wait a second.
no.
There's no such thing as Islamophobic. If people, are afraid to have that religion come into their country because of the way they behave, and because of the way they behave, there's nothing phobic about that. That is
Well,
like a legitimate reason to be kind of concerned,
yeah.
don't you think? I
We
mean,
need another word for like murder phobia because I'm afraid of being murdered. I'm afraid of
yeah,
my family's being
basically,
murdered because that's what happens and what's happening in Europe.
yeah,
That's what's happening. Is I mean, even Portugal, or is it Portugal? I believe it
everywhere.
is.